Hi everyone, it's Dr. Amy Abelar, and this is another video in our series on the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. And in this video, we are going to talk about that entrepreneurial fire that does not die when we have babies and how challenging that can be when you are at home, but you are desperately wanting to grow your business at the same time. I experienced this very hardcore during my second maternity leave and experienced it a little bit during my first, but more so during my second. And I think it was because I just got frustrated, right? And I want to start by disclaiming that I absolutely wanted to have these two children. I absolutely wanted to have time at home with them when they were first born. I also wanted to, it was very important to both my husband and I that we did not put our children into any kind of daycare setting until they were about 18 months old. No judgment on anyone else for doing it differently. Zero judgment here. For us, that was important. And so we knew that for the first 18 months, we were going to have to figure out what that might look like for how to plan for both of us to be able to work during that first 18-month time. My mom came down for both of my maternity leaves, and she helped me for the first, I think she was there for 4 weeks for my first maternity leave with my son, and then she stayed for 5 weeks with my daughter, and that was just amazing, huge blessing. So during those time frames, my husband actually didn't take paternity leave. My husband took paternity leave later on because, he took like the first week or two. And then after that, he's like, while your mom is here, makes sense for me to work, and I'll save my paternity leave for other times when we need it. And so that worked out really well. That's definitely a strategy that if you have that opportunity, you could take. We are in a situation where I am self-employed. I own a business. So if you haven't seen my other videos, I own a massage and acupuncture business. I have 24 employees that work for me. There's a lot of massage therapists, and there's myself and currently one other acupuncturist. And so during maternity leave, I did have another acupuncturist who was there treating patients. So that was super helpful and for lots of reasons. But I had a really hard time because even though, I should back up one step. My husband has a W-2 job. So he is where our health insurance comes from. He is where he works like a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of job. And he does work from home, which is helpful, but his work is requires a level of focus that allows for him doesn't allow for him to really be super present at home and multitask things, but it does allow for when he has, a bathroom break or something like that, he'll come out and he'll spend 10 minutes and take the baby so that I could go do other things, get in a quick shower or whatever I needed. So, anyways, so because his job was full-time and did not allow a whole lot of flexibility unless he took a PTO day. And my job had a lot of flexibility in when I went back to work, how many hours I went back to work. And again, we also had financially, we were stable because of my husband's income and because of the income from the rest of the business. And I did also take private disability when I was pregnant with when I was postpartum with my first, and state disability when I was postpartum with my second. So that also helps out. Highly recommend getting that set up. We do have another video specifically on how to prepare yourself financially for maternity leaves ahead of time. So I encourage you to watch that. But this video being focused on kind of that entrepreneurial fire, it was very hard for me to be at home because I love business. I love growth. I love treating patients. I love my career. I love just growing, creating, like that, literally entrepreneurship fire. Like, I don't know how to describe it other than that. And if you feel it, you get it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But during my time at home, I found myself being very frustrated, and it was this weird experience because I was exactly where I wanted to be. I had grown my business and worked my butt off to get to a place where I was going to be financially sound and have a business and have a manager in place to handle most of the things so that I could be at home and I could be bonding with my baby and I could be really taking that maternity leave and just enjoying it, right? And I wanted, when I first returned to work, to only go back part-time and be home part-time while my kids were little. And so here I was enjoying literally exactly what I had envisioned, and still having a really hard time with it because I've been used to the growth, the short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain, but I just kind of kept living in that short-term sacrifice mode, and being so focused on growth that then to pause felt weird. It felt lazy. It felt not fulfilling. It felt like, man, I'm used to like growing and seeing things where my business is expanding, I'm hiring more people, I'm making more money, the business is becoming more successful, we need more space, we've expanded into larger buildings as the business has grown, right? From like 1 room to 4 rooms to 8 rooms to now we are in a building that has 12 rooms, right? We've continued to grow. And when I've been used to kind of climbing that ladder in that way, my own ladder, not a corporate ladder, but my own, then when you're at home and you're home for a long period of time, or you're home for 5 days a week and then you only go into the office to treat patients 1 or 2 days a week, it's weird. It was a really weird transition for me. And so my main point of making this video is to talk about and normalize it, because I know there's a lot of other women who are in the same boat where you are an entrepreneur, you do want to have this patient success, you do want to be at work, you are nervous about what your practice is going to look like when you return, which makes you be nervous about taking that maternity leave in the first place or coming back slowly. And I just want to say, provided that financially you can afford to do so, I try to soak that in as much as you can, but also understand that it's perfectly normal to be feeling the way that you're feeling. And it's hard. It's so hard. And so I just, I don't have a whole lot of advice on this topic other than trying to just help you feel seen, and validate how you're feeling, because it can feel really crummy to be in the situation again that you were really looking forward to, and to somehow have it feel unfulfilling or have it feel not as great as you thought it was going to be, once you actually arrive there. And I also want to just encourage you that this time frame will not last forever either. It feels like a long time when you're in it. It really does. And on top of dealing with like postpartum hormones and trying to get your body to be back in shape or as close to in shape as we can get it when we're trying to balance all of the things we're balancing, I just want to encourage you that this is a hard time, but it is a short time in the grand scheme of things. And there will be lots and lots of years to grow your practice. I can tell you from somebody who has always focused on practice growth, business growth. If you're not growing, you're dying, that kind of a thing. I can tell you that it is very hard to be in this season. You can feel like you're so behind. I felt like that a lot. Like, oh my gosh, if I didn't take maternity leave, my business would be, so much further ahead. If I, would have had more time to work, my business would be further ahead. I'd have more patients, my business would be more successful, blah, blah, blah. I'd have already hit the milestones that I want to hit. But also I wanted kids. Like, I did want to have 2 kids. I did want to have time at home with them. I didn't want them to go to school or daycare for their first 18 months of life. I didn't want somebody else to be spending all of the time with them and me to miss out on all of that opportunity. Working part-time and then being home part-time was enjoyable, and I'll admit my second time around of this, My daughter has only started, my second has only started in a daycare setting like literally a month ago. So I'm only a month into, her being in daycare like 4 days a week and my son being in school 5 days a week. But um, it's very hard. It's a hard season. It can feel like it's a really long time. But when you are a mom and you are an entrepreneur, when you're a mom and an entrepreneur, it's a your growth is not going to be linear because you aren't just like constantly scaling. You don't have the same 5 days a week of work or 6 or 7 days a week of work. You have now added in another human being or two human beings. You've added in, you've taken away sleep, you've taken away time, you've added in stress, you've added in things to consider, factors to consider. And so I just want to encourage you that you should not be growing at the same rate while you're home part-time with your kids. That makes sense. You don't have the hours in the day that you used to because now you have another person you're taking care of. One of the things that I can say I kind of regret doing that I really wish that I would have done differently is I spent a lot of my time while being home with my daughter being frustrated that I wasn't at work, being frustrated about the growth that I wasn't achieving because for whatever reason, I was holding myself to an insanely high standard that was absolutely not realistic considering the fact that I have two children. And for whatever reason, I felt like I should just be able to grow my practice in the ways that I did before having kids. And that's like literally insane. It makes no sense. It's not logical at all. But when you're dealing with postpartum hormones and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're feeling frustrated with yourself, it's easy to be in that boat. And I'm still struggling my way out of it, right? I'm not completely out of it yet, but so that this series is as much for you as it is for me. But I do just want to point out that you really should, as much as you can, accept that logically you do not have as much time as you used to have. You don't have as much brain power as you used to have. You have so many more factors that have to be thought about and incorporated into your planning in order for you to have time to do the things that you need to do. And so I just want to tell you that I've been there. In some ways, I'm still a little bit there, and it sucks and it's hard. It's not forever. And, it'll all work itself out. But when you are a mom and you're an entrepreneur, your success is not going to be in this linear fashion. You're going to have to take pauses. Things are going to slow down. That's perfectly normal and to be expected. And I'm sure there are other people out there who are still looking at you like you're a stinking rock star, and like you're crushing it. And I'm sure that you are, even though you're probably being hard on yourself the way that I've been hard on myself. And my business has still grown. My business has grown every single year. We've expanded every single year. Our gross and net has gone up every single year. Even over these last 6 years that I have been either, pregnant with my first, on maternity leave, pregnant with my second, on maternity leave, into that era of now her being 19 months old, starting daycare at 18 months, like my son being almost 5, that's 5.5 to 6 years between the start of his pregnancy and now her going to school. And the business has still grown, right? It's still grown. It's still improved in a lot of ways. Not the ways that I necessarily wanted it to grow. I had to grow other things. I had to grow in ways where other people were the ones who were bringing in the income. And for some of you, you're like, yeah, jackpot, having other people do the work of treating patients or giving massages, and then the business profiting is obviously a huge win. But I also love being there physically. I love treating patients. I love being in the office and physically doing things to help make the business be more successful. And so if you're like me and you have that entrepreneurial fire, it's always going to be there. It's not going to get completely squashed out just because you're having kids, which is a good thing, and it makes it a hard thing, right? It's hard when you're going to be at home. It's hard when you're not able to fully dive in to that entrepreneurial spirit, but it will be there when you do have more time and when you can dive more into it. So I want to offer this as as an encouragement, as in I see you, I feel it. You're not alone. You're totally valid in all of the ways that you're feeling about it. And I just want to encourage you that you can still have growth. It just is going to take a little bit longer because you have other pieces of your life that you've added in that are also wonderful and amazing. And yeah, it'll be okay.